song goes on, but I figure it's time to let everybody off the hook. Hi, everyone, and we are already on YouTube. Boy, am I getting the hang of this. I am Molly Sleuth. I am joined by my bestie.
Randy, Agard.
Yay.
Hello, everybody. Thanks for joining us. Appreciate you guys.
We've already got some friends in the chat. Becky Lou says, is this music from Molly's Punk Days? Hell yes, that's Soulside. They were on Discord Records. That's a DC punk band from way back in the day. Love them. And Keystone Channel, Chickaboom, and of course, Big Hair Tsunami. Hello, everybody. So today we're just going to go through Randy's shit that he went through. From officer to convicted felon and back again, although not all the way. And so I think it's a really good story. But first of all, Randy, you're in LA and you work in LA. You good?
I think you're asking about the fires.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just you know what? First off, I'm not going to say thoughts and prayers, but I hope everybody's doing good. So you know how big LA is. I'm safe. I'm good. Thank you for asking. But for the people that were directly affected, my heart goes out to you guys, losing everything, their stuff getting burnt up. It couldn't have been prevented because I'm hearing from firefighters, the wind, and it was just a perfect bad situation. But it could have been mitigated. It could have been reduced with bad policy, horrible mindset, bad politics, affected in a bad way.
Hiring back all the vaccinated firefighters that were fighting with us firefighters for freedom. That would have helped.
Bad ideology. They were like, oh, too many white guys. Most of LA is white people, so not enough firefighters. And I don't care about the color thing. It's just, if it was a bunch of Smurfs, oh, too many blue Smurfs. That's an idiot mindset.
Yeah, and they closed stations. They defunded them. And of course, now everybody's like looking at these three chicks going like, this is it. These are the firemen. Listen, as somebody who has also been certified as a fireman, I'm not in charge of anything. I roll hose. I put the wet stuff on the hot stuff. I'm not. But one of them, the big kind of like mixed black, white, whatever she is, I think she worked at the Pico Sautel station because she looks familiar. Okay. And if that's true, I got 2 commendations from LAPD in 1 week for me unfucking something that she did. So I don't know that it's her, but if she worked at Pico and Sautel in the 2010-ish range, then sad to see some people get to the top.
Might be her.
Yeah, I wanted to, because we also, it's really a story tonight about a total piece of shit rising to the top. So I don't know that we want to use his name. I think we can just call him Moron, if that works for you.
Too close.
Nobody knows that it's that close. What do you want to call him?
Anything else, because when LAPD officers finally see this, they're going to put 2 and 2 together. Because
everybody knows who this dude is anyway.
All right, Moron it is.
Okay. All right. Oh, Becky Lou says, not fact check, but apparently Diddy's mansion burned down, possibly filled with incriminating evidence. But wouldn't they already have raided the place? Oddly enough, Becky Lou, I worked that area of West LA, Pacific Palisades area. And even back in like 2010, 2012, there were already terror cells living in $1 million mansions over there. So who knows what the hell they're burning down. All right. Well, I don't know what you want to call him, but I guess we can start where I entered the scene. You called me.
One sec. This might be worth doing at a future date, the fire thing. It's super interesting.
Well, if we get through your story, then let's talk about the fires, because there's a lot of information there.
Go ahead.
Okay, so I get woken up by my best friend at 7 o'clock in the fucking morning. And I know that it's not that you want to go to the fucking club tonight. And so I even remember like which way my bed was facing. I remember that my curtains were drawn and I was just like, wait, what's going on? What? Like I was so confused. So tell me why, or tell them, why did you call me after your shift?
Well, let's back up. So what happened was I'm working patrol that night, 7 a.m. The reason why she's so extra about 7 a.m, when you're a cop, that's basically like me calling her in the middle of the night. So it's not, I'm calling her at 7 a.m. I'm calling her 1 a.m, basically. So I work that night and my partner and I pull over these young ladies. Let's back it up again. When we approached these young ladies, I realized, oh, I know one of the young ladies in the car. And I had met her before. She was just, what was she doing? She was walking in the street. So me and a different partner, we had stopped her for jaywalking. She was super cool. I was like, I'm going to give you a break. And she's like, oh, I didn't know officers were like this. And we exchanged information. Now, people think, oh, that's an on-duty contact. No, because there has to be a romantic follow-up to that. Like, would you like to go out to go get dinner or dance or whatever? So she just asked me if she had gotten a DUI, and she was asking me what her options were and asking for like resources. Long story short, she was in the car that we had pulled over a few weeks later. So I signaled to my partner, code 4, which, you want me to get into tactics on that? Or?
Yeah, tell everybody what a code 4 is.
It just means car safe to approach. I've checked the car. I haven't seen anything threatening. And it was especially a code 4 because I'm not going to say I knew this girl, but I kind of knew her, whatever. Mm-hmm. And mind you, Molly, these are 22-year-old, 115-pound club girls. They're going out to party, and they're basically wearing nothing. And my partner goes, I'm getting the driver out of the front seat. So it's the equivalent of you pulling over your neighbor and I'm getting crazy with your neighbor. He puts her towards the back of the car, their car, the vehicle they were in, handcuffs her. And I'm like, dude, what are you doing? A, Hollywood Station is full of females. Call a female for a search. B, she's 115 pounds. Unless she's hiding something in her toes or she doesn't have anything on her that's going to hurt us. I know that. So the young lady who kind of knows me is like, what is going on? She's freaking out. Unbeknownst to her, even though I'm being stoic, I'm freaking out. I'm like, what's this dude doing? So he goes, he writes her a ticket. It's contact cover. I'm cover. He contacted. He's got the information. He's writing her ticket. Now she's going berserk. And I'm like, you want me to get your supervisor? In hindsight, I should have just called the supervisor. That was on me. I was being an idiot. I should have got a supervisor out there. I go, you want a supervisor? She goes, I don't want anything to do with the police. What your friend did to me. And then she just went in about, she's like, he touched me here and he touched me there, blah, blah, blah.
And go in a little bit as to how you need to have a little bit more to be able to search people. Crime, perhaps.
Yeah, crime, or you're a danger to officers, or you're a danger to others. Is it reasonable that this person might have weapons on them? Mm-hmm. When you're wearing a halter top, and I don't even know what kind of miniskirt she was wearing, or if it was shorts. She was basically in a glorified bikini. I mean, they were going to go to some like rave club. You can't search someone like that. I mean, maybe if you're thinking drugs, but you better get a female out there if you're thinking it's drugs, because where she's going to hide it is not somewhere a male should be searching for it. Mm-hmm. And as far as weapons, you could just look her up and down and see. Plus, I gave the code 4. Like, I looked at her. She doesn't have any guns in the front of her. When you took her out of the car, you could see, or a knife or whatever.
Yeah, it's about articulating it. Are they reaching for shit? Are they standing odd where they won't open their arm that something could be secreted in their pit? I mean, people do fuck around. And what's
really off-putting about it is So the passenger was the girl that I told you I knew. So she looked at me and she looked at her friend when we initially stopped them. And she calmed them down. I was super calm. So everybody's like, cool. She's like, oh, my friend. You know how young girls are. Oh, I saw you one time. You're my friend now.
Mm-hmm.
And me, I'm like, oh, I saw this girl before. I'm like, oh, she's cool. I have her phone number. She's got my phone number. Nothing came out of it. Like, I think she asked me like resources for who should she call as far as the DUI goes. And I was like, well, take some community service stuff. So when you go before the judge or join school, something like that. Anyways,
mm-hmm.
Everybody's cool. And then you just amped it up to, oh, this is Al Qaeda. Let me see if she's got an AK-47 in her G-string.
Over tinted windows and no front plate.
No, that's the thing. I want to say, I believe they actually were in convertible.
Oh, okay.
So we can see it. Oh, I see what you're saying. You're joking around, but
yeah,
I
over
think
just
it was like expired,
a
right?
bullshit California vehicle violation that isn't.
Yeah, I think it was
expired.
Stolen. Yeah, nothing. Big nothing.
Got a warrant on the car for armed robbery.
Big nothing.
And so, you hadn't been married up with him for very long.
Well, what's funny is we were going back to the station, and what he said was really disturbing. Am I like curse? If I say what he said, I can say what he said.
Yeah, I mean, we're on YouTube, but it's fine.
I ticketed her because these are the bitches at the club that tell us no.
I do remember you telling me that in the morning. You said, these are the kind of bitches that wouldn't give us the time of day in the club.
Right. So we're good.
Which is crazy. So even though you're patting down for weapons, LAPD has a very strict policy that women search women, men search men. It became weird with what LAPD calls wobblers. So
please explain.
Okay. We stepped in that. If you are female from the belly up, then I search. And if you're male from the belly down, then a male searches the other part. And that was really a big thing in Hollywood, that you had people. So in law enforcement, there are some crimes that could be a misdemeanor or could be a felony based on certain circumstances. And so they call those wobblers. And so this was a term that was used in Hollywood. I'm sure you're not going to find it in the SOPs, but a wobbler would be kind of male and kind of female. And so you'd have to search accordingly, which really is ridiculous. But at any rate, they were very strict. I worked for another police agency afterwards. You fucking search whoever you search. Becky Lou wanted to know if we ever had to search anybody in their bodily cavities. No, we don't do that. If I think that you keistered something or swallowed something, we just take you to the hospital or the jail facility, and they'll get in there and do what needs to be done. Although I would get called to Hollywood Division, I'd get called out of the field. Hey, we need a female for a search. And it's like, you already arrested this chick and you stuck her in the tank, which is like a holding room with all the arrestees in it. They're no longer handcuffed at that point. They have full access to use the toilet, blah, 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 talk to each other, pass stuff off on one another. And like people would have stuff on them. And it's like, well, they were too dumb to even like pass it off to another girl. But I remember Becky Lou, that this one girl was like chewing gum, but it wasn't gum. And so I just took toilet paper and I made a big accordion and I put it out for her. And I was like, put your gum on that. Oh no, that's my gum. Like, put it on there and don't touch my napkin. Leave the napkin alone. Put your gum on top of it because I want to see that it's gum, right? And so she takes the napkin from my hand, puts the meth baggie in it and crumples it all up and then hands it to me. And I'm like, bro, you had one fucking job. So I open it. It's fucking meth. She got an additional charge, and you get an additional charge for bringing drugs into a jail facility. So, but she wasn't my arrestee, but it's just like, dude, she had access to this meth. Like she could have ingested it and overdosed. Now you've got a death in custody. She could have given it to some other stupid girl in this tank and somebody else could have overdosed. you know, who knows? Or you just find it like later in the night when you have no bodies in there and somebody's cleaning it out. Like, where did this come from? And you're just like, oh my God, somebody had that this whole time. So I hated doing female searches because it's like, keep them secured until I get there. Like, you don't want her shooting you. Like, if you really think that she might have something on her, why are you letting her free to wander and piss? Like, I'm coming. But so even though you couldn't see anything on these girls and the girl that he searched, it isn't reasonable unless you have exigent circumstances. If she has a knife in her hand and you watch her put it down her shirt, you know, at that point, you're going to grab her hands. And then, like, what is she going to grab the knife with? Her fucking teeth? So even in that instance, you're not going to search her or get all up in her kibbles and bits. And if we have time to talk about the other agency I worked for, I got into some kibbles and bits. But it wasn't who you think. So anyway, so that's really terrifying because LAPD is really no fucking nonsense when it comes to that kind of stuff. And that is sexual misconduct under the color of authority. You've touched a girl and you're a guy. So it's what we thought, an automatic firing, and anybody that knows about it and doesn't say anything about it is an automatic firing. It's a fucking shall. So we're on the phone, you call me, and I remind you, that's shall. You let somebody know, and then you call me right back and tell me who you told, because if I don't know that you told someone, now I have to tell someone. And tell them right now. Because if you say that girl had blue shoelaces and she had red, like, you're fucked. You better, like, tell everything that happened immediately before you go home. So I guess you don't have to go into who you told, but how did that go down?
So I did what you said because one of the things with you and I is one thing you and I both shared was we were both scared to death about lying because at that time we actually thought if you lied, you'd get fired. And you and I both shared the whole misconduct is a fireable offense. Not this whole, I'm gonna get crazy over here because I'm not gonna get in trouble. That's not why we did the stuff that we did. Those were just the principles you and I had shared. Anyway, so it turned into a gigantic investigation where this is so crazy. They said, where'd you meet the girl? I said, on a traffic stop. And they said, oh, that's, on a pedestrian stop. So she was jaywalking and I said, I stopped her. The guy interviewing me said, no, lie. Just say you met her at a club. Come to find out, he was setting me up. And the guy
interviewing you, is that a rep from the department? Is that a supervisor at the department?
It was a supervisor because I had to go get my own rep outside of him. And that's how I know that law so well, that department policy so well about the, it's an on-duty contact, but the furtherance has to be, I attempted to date her. And he said, no, people get people's phone numbers all the time. You can get phone numbers all you want. If you attempt to do something.
Your lead officer, that's your fucking job.
Yeah. Are there homeless people in front of your establishment? No, there's not. Okay, that's not an on-duty contact. She wanted anyway, so they tried to get me trapped up in that because, oh, now he's lying. He said he met her at a club because they called her and they said, how'd he meet you? Oh, I was jaywalking. He stopped me. I told him I got a DUI. So her story and my story matched exactly because I didn't lie. Come to find out, I'm like, why'd you, because a certain captain, I won't say who, he was trying to get me in trouble. And I say he, because he was pushing it for whatever reasons he was pushing it. So I'm like, what does he have to do with any of this? So then I get my own rep, and my own rep is the one who informed me about the furtherance, about the on-duty, all that stuff. And he's like, I said, hey, they want me to lie. I don't feel comfortable lying. He's like, then don't lie. I'm like, okay, I'm not gonna. And luckily I didn't because that was the trap that was set for me.
And the crazy thing is that they were treating you like you had done something wrong and you're just a witness to a crime. And
Sorry,
at this point, you don't see anything else going on with your partner officer.
So I'm going to quote the thing that captain said. He said, and I quote, "You've made too much noise. Something has to happen to you."
Yeah.
So, and that statement was made after what you're going to get into and what had happened. So it was a mixture of a bunch of stuff. And we'll let the audience and everyone who's sharing with us in on all the other stuff. But I want everybody to remember the statement that captain made.
And that's really crazy because you didn't make any noise. You followed department policy. I mean, if anything, the fucking dude who's out there committing sexual misconduct under the color of authority is the one that's tarnishing our department for the whole world. Whether or not that girl told, you can't do that. And in Hollywood, you got so many people that might be filming something and, you know, surveillance cameras and all that stuff. It really, I mean, besides your very stringent set of morals and ethics and code of conduct, you just don't know if you're going to get caught for something like that. And I can't believe, even if you're as dumb as that guy, because he was dumb, that he would be trying to like fuck around like that for over nothing. It's not worth it.
Well,
I mean,
it was on
people who have gotten in trouble for things, but
it was on Hollywood. It was on Hollywood Boulevard, which is I want to say 78% covered by cameras. So the chances of it being picked up are pretty high. And then I know you guys probably saw me writing, and this applies to Molly. What LAPD does is it'll target people with the people that are in trouble. So if something was told to Molly, we're messing with you, and it's not directed at you. It's about Agard, me, Randy.
Well, and we saw that. Happened. Yeah. So there's 2 captains for each division. There's 21 divisions for the city of Los Angeles, and we worked at Hollywood, which is one of them. And so they have 2 captains. They have an area captain, which is the grand poobah, the big cheese, and then they have the patrol captain that's in charge of all of us assholes. And so obviously something like this is very serious, and so both captains are going to be apprised of it. They handled it totally terribly, but this division is the only division that I worked at that actively had what they call a burn wall. And I mean, I guess the theory is that you've got pictures of all the officers that work there, and you know which ones are on the shit list or not, for whatever reason. And maybe it's just political, you know, oh, this person isn't friends with somebody else that you like or whatever. And it shouldn't, but it can screw you over and screw over your reputation for working at that place, give you bad assignments, not have them take a commendation if somebody comes to the front desk and says, oh my God, Officer Agard was so great. Let me tell you all about it. And they're like, yeah, cool, bye. Whereas if somebody says, Officer Agard, you know, didn't let my poodle go piss when he arrested me for bank robbery. Like, well, that was kind of not when you were shooting at him. It kind of wasn't the time. But they'll take a complaint for stupid shit like that. And so that's hypothetical, of course. And so after you told and the patrol captain said you made too much noise, then what started happening to you?
Just bad assignments. Like the thing with Hollywood is Watch 3, which is 6 to 6, I believe, is pretty good watch. Watch 2, I think it's daytime watch. That's pretty good. So they'll go back and forth, the police officers. Oh, it's summertime, I'm going to go work nights. And it's winter, the senior officers are like, I'm going to go work, whatever. They'll switch shifts. So Watch 7 was kind of the watch where you're not cool enough to be on any of the specialized units. And so we all kind of became friends, myself, Molly, a few other officers. we made our own little, whatever you want to call it, group. And what I noticed was, no matter who I work with, say they got a complaint. Oh, did you hear what? I'm Agard, for anybody who hasn't picked up on that yet. Oh, did you hear what Agard did this weekend? Well, Molly was with him, right? Yeah, but Agard, blah, 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 blah. And it would take some sergeant or supervisor to say, I'm kind of noticing you're ignoring that Molly was also with, and they chill out on it. But if nobody said anything, it was, oh, Randy, you did this, and Randy, you did that. And I was super active and got in trouble. I got with this lazy officer where we did nothing for 6 months, and they were like, good job, guys. And it was almost like, if you do your job, you're going to get in trouble. And the thing about doing nothing is, as a cop, there's going to be a weird statement. You can't not get in trouble for doing nothing. You can't get in trouble. You can't get in trouble for doing nothing, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, there is.
If you're not productive,
failure to.
If you're not productive, what if they'll put you on the desk? You still have your job. They can't write you up.
Put you in the kit room.
So,
hey, did he have to go to the kit room? This fucking idiot?
No, he didn't. And I want to say they asked him to join HED, which is you know what he did for a few days.
You
got to explain the kit room.
Go to the kit room, which is the kit room is, as much as it seems like a punishment, you get to eat when you want to eat. You're not going to get shot at. You're basically working the supply closet. You hand out keys to patrol vehicles and shotguns, and hey, I need another chip for my camera. Like, it's a pretty cush deal. As much as they say that it's sort of like a punishment, not for sandbags. Sandbags like to be in the kit room. And so, okay, so then you're getting written up for shit, and they were really screwing with you a lot. And so, again, you called me. Now, at this time, it was October of 2010, I think. And I was on loan to West LA, where these fires are happening, Pacific Palisades, West LA, Brentwood, Bel Air, Beverly Hills adjacent. And I was assigned to do a haunted house for the community, which was great fun. So the captain at West LA, Evangeline Nathan, people thought she was very stern. I appreciate stern. At least you know, like, where you stand with somebody. But she borrowed me from Hollywood for the month so that I could do this haunted house. So I wasn't with you, and I wasn't seeing the day-to-day at Hollywood, just hearing about it from you. They gave me a notice to correct, which is sort of like a write-up without a consequence yet, but you collect enough of them and there will be days off and all kinds of things. Notices to correct, complaints. They were just fucking with you for daily. And maybe I was there at the beginning of that when they were sending you bad calls. Because I never returned to Hollywood after that.
When an officer first gets to whatever division, they might go to the kit room or the front desk. That's just your, hey, welcome here. And then you'll work for a little while. And then maybe after 6 months of you being there, I'm not saying you're going to be on the desk for 6 months. I'm saying 6 months of you being on patrol, someone might come up and say, hey, would you like to work Vice or gangs or whatever? And what I noticed was every partner I worked with, hey, would you like to come and work Vice or gangs? Or HED was one of the big ones we had there. The Hollywood Entertainment Division, the Footbeats. So they walked up and down Hollywood Boulevard from Highland to, I think, Argyle or whatever. And they wasn't asking me for anything. I'm just sitting in limbo in Watch 7. And I'm not the best officer. I'm goofy. I'm kind of silly. Again, if officers that are the best are 10, maybe I'm a 4, maybe a 5, whatever. But I'm not horrible.
That's true.
I'm not hard.
I don't think that's true. I think you have a fun
that.
time.
So,
but you're a hard worker. Yes. We were never like hiding in an alley.
We work. We actually work. Yeah, we work, but it was just, how do I say this? It was what is it when you do something on purpose, or you like they'd aggressively mess with me, and then they'd the opposite of aggressive, like don't write him up a commendation, don't say he did a good job, don't let him do anything. Yeah, so they were also doing that. I don't know why these words are escaping me, but so they're kind of screwing with me like that, and then it just, you're there long enough. Oh, I'm talking to some of the girls. I'm making friends with these people. Some of the supervisors liking me. So then it started.
Hollywood's different than any other division because you got a lot of bitches. And they are collecting your fucking phone numbers, boys. And I warned you about that. I said, do not, even when you were on the dating apps, don't tell anybody what you do for a living. You are giving these girls too much power. You know, you stop dating them through, no fault or because they're crazy or they're a gold digger or whatever their problem is. And then all of a sudden she has all this power against you to call your place of employment and go, he threw me against the wall. Like, you don't need that shit. Which is why I told you to tell all the girls that you were a trash man. But I don't know that happened that much. But in fact, just to dime Hollywood out, because I'm fucking hating them all over again, Hollywood has something called Supermodel Night. I have never participated in it. But you can walk in the back of the station to go get changed and get ready for roll call. And you see there's a bench of people that have been arrested that are waiting for processing and booking to go to a jail. And when the bench is you like just, your regular average, arrestees. You got people, yelling and dirty people and hobos and whatever. And every once in a while there would be some kind of sting where they would arrest all the characters in all the costumes from Hollywood Boulevard that are really just like robbery suspects. You had like 3 guys that were all fucking Superman or Spider-Man. And one of them would rob you of your purse and you're a tourist. So you don't know what the hell to do. And you're like, yeah, it was Spider-Man. But then there's like Spider-Mans everywhere. And each Spider-Man's like, wasn't me. And that girl who was Cinderella, she used to give blowjobs on Orange in the alley there. She did. And, but mostly they would take a picture with you. And so you pay these actors like, oh, look, this is Jack Sparrow, whatever. Can I take a picture with you? Like, oh, sure. Everybody get in, And so they're real nice about it. And then as soon as you take the picture, then they start hassling these tourists who don't know better. And they're like, it's $20. And you're like, oh, sorry, sir. I didn't know it was $20. You don't have money. I wasn't going to pay $20. $20. Like, yeah, it's $20. Hey, he's not paying me. And so then all the other characters would be like, what the fuck, And so the tourists would get crazy. And so what we call an Estes robbery, or essentially robbery, is taking a property by force or by fear. And so these people, if they were taking pictures with, you're not exactly snatching their purses like Spider-Man was, but you are still in essence taking property by fear because you've got all these like stupid characters. So sometimes you'd walk in the back of Hollywood Station and you'd have Chucky and a Michael Jackson impersonator and Cinderella and a fucking Wonder Woman. And you're like, oh, okay, yeah, that's what they're doing tonight. They're just getting all the robbers on Hollywood Boulevard. But sometimes it was Supermodel Night. And you'd walk in the back of the station to come get your uniform on, go to roll call. And you're like, what the fuck? How come there's all these like hot chicks? Like all like they raid the Victoria's Secret fashion show or what? And it's because of Supermodel Night. And it's an unspoken, unwritten fucking night. I don't even know how long it was. I mean, how often it was. But the idea is who can arrest the hottest chick? That's it. That sucks. Like, being a hot chick would really suck that day. Luckily, nobody was pulling me over for that. So, And it would be for DUI, or she has a warrant, or she, was jaywalking and then she, hit me while I was trying to give her a ticket. But if you weren't hot, they wouldn't even stop you. If you were hot,
yeah,
they're gonna look for more. And so, I mean, certainly I would think that those guys would probably get fired for Supermodel Night, but everybody knew that Supermodel Night existed, and I mean, if you're the watch commander approving all these bookings, and you're like, okay, who's that? Are you sick or injured? Do you have any questions for me? All those questions. And it must be Supermodel Night. Cause normally we don't see that demographic on the bench. I don't know why I went off on that tangent, but so,
I do.
There were a lot of bitches. So it's not that hard to just pull over a convertible full of, slutty chicks going to the club. Hollywood is every kind of person, every kind of crime, but you've got a lot of the nightclubs along there. And so you've got a lot of the gangsters going in to party and the whores going in to scoop up and prostitutes and everybody coming to flex their money. And so I don't fault you guys for pulling them over, but obviously it went sideways.
Well, one of the things you're forgetting to tell the audience is before I started looking like a homeless cage fighter and got married to the McDonald's dollar menu, I actually used to be a super handsome guy. But, I'm working on my man boobs.
Me too.
So the dating apps, super simple. You just talk to girls. Back then, before we all hate cops because the media told us to, in a certain political party. Cops were loved, but it was exactly what Molly said. You're putting your career and your life and your freedom in the hands of whoever that drunk girl was that oh, you're a cop? What do you mean you're not going to give me $20 for cool? You just hit me in the face.
Right.
So, yeah.
Yeah. And so, okay, so then I'm on loan and you call me and you're like, they're fucking with me every day. I don't know what to do.
Yes. And just like you, I remember where I was at when I told you that. I have this huge rock formation in my backyard, which you've been to. I call it Rabbit Rock, which is weird because squirrels live in there, not rabbits. And I'm on Rabbit Rock and I'm like, Molly, they're messing with me every day. And I remember you said, leave Hollywood or you're going to lose your job or something worse. And I'm like, something worse. And I think we didn't talk for a little while after that because not that you scared me, but you meant it with everything in you. You said, leave Hollywood. I'll never forget that. Yeah.
Well, so I was still at West LA at the time and I got a call from a sergeant. It doesn't matter if I say his name, but he said, hey, after that loan to West LA, do you want to work November and December in Pacific Division, which is Venice Beach area. They call it Hollywood by the Sea. And I thought, are they trying to get me out of the way? Oh, because when I told you, get a rep, you got a rep, a representative from the union to help defend you against this harassment. And that's when those captains called me in, both of them. And the area captain says to me, what is this I hear about you having a paid sex website? And I'm like, what are you even talking about? I don't have a paid sex website. I made a stupid website. It's still up, as a matter of fact. I think I paid for a fucking decade, right after that happened, because I'm like, wait, I need to be able to prove that this is all that it is and there's nowhere to click, and I need to memorialize this because you're accusing me of misconduct. And so I'm like, I don't have a paid sex website. And then the area captain says, don't worry about it, Molly. I used to model Speedos. I'm like, well, I've never modeled fucking Speedos. And so I'm like, what the hell? So they didn't even get into it with me about why I told you to get a rep, but she said, so you want to be a rallier, rally the troops? And I'm like, it's a shell. He observed a fucking crime and he had to say something about it. And now you're treating both of us like we're the problem. This is crazy. And I'm going back to my loan to West LA. And so then what we forgot to say is that then they called us both in while I was still at West LA for those 4 weeks and had us sign a notice to correct that we crashed a cop car. And so 2 guys that I knew from West LA were on loan. I don't know if they were on loan from traffic or if they were on loan from West LA, but it's 2 guys who don't normally work Hollywood. And as an officer, you go to roll call, you get assigned a car, we call them a shop. And so you go to your shop, you throw your war bag in, and you have to check out your shop, make sure that there's no like crazy damage that you need to report. Is there like what happened in Hollywood all the time because IA shared the parking lots. So they would just like sprinkle fucking meth pipes in all the shops and it would be like an Easter egg hunt. And you're like, fuck, now I have to do like a property report. Like, I just want to go answer calls. And now you're doing like an integrity audit on me. Like, I found your meth pipe, take it fucking back. Let me go to work. And so, especially if you haven't worked at that division before, you're going to comb over the car with a fine tooth comb because we know shop 86299 has a, gouge in the bumper. We've seen it a million times. We're not going to go and report it, but you're supposed to report it. And theoretically, the city's supposed to fix it. But so these 2 guys get assigned this car and there's major traffic collision damage on the back of it, rear driver's side. So they come into the kit room and go, this one's crashed. And so Randy and I get called in and we are told that was, that we did it. And like, what? First of all, we didn't crash a car. Can I see the car? No. Can I see the mileage that we turned the car in at? No. Can I see the mileage that it's at now? No. So cars don't always get signed out. In fact, usually somebody that works in the station will go and get somebody food and bring it back or whatever. And so it's not unreasonable to have somebody driving the car without signing it out. And if we were the last 2 assholes that signed that car out, I don't know. I couldn't tell you. All I know is that we didn't crash a car. And I ended up getting to see the car. And I was like, what the fuck? Like, if we did that, my back would still hurt. Why would we not report that? That's crazy. I mean, no doubt somebody hit this thing, go on a good clip. And it was on the driver's side rear. So like when we got our stuff out at the end of the night, we would have seen it. It's, when you get your war bag out of the trunk, because we carry like most of our equipment in the trunk, there's no way to not see that. So anyway, they said, just come and sign this notice to correct that you promised to report the next time you crash one of our cars. So I called a rep and was like, oh my God, what do I do? They're telling me that I crashed a car. And she said, well, it's just a notice to correct. Just sign it because you have 30 days that you can beef it or dispute it. And so I'm like, I don't want to sign it, but it's misconduct at LAPD if you don't sign these complaints that they throw in your face, which is why Randy was accruing a fucking shit ton of them. And so, man, I cried because I was just like, this is blowing my mind. I didn't think that the police were capable of such like bias. That's not even bias is even the word, like venom, unfairness. It just was so wrong. And the fact that it was happening to you and that you were there every day was just killing me. So I asked a sergeant at West LA, what do we do? And he said, get the fuck out. So I was called from West LA when my loan was almost over and I was going to go back to Hollywood. And this sergeant called from Hollywood and said, do you want to continue your loan and go to Pacific Division? And I just thought, no, I don't. Like, I'm going to prove to you that I'm not a piece of shit, that you guys are saying that I'm doing all this stuff. You guys got plenty of drama going on at that station and it's not me. So I felt like I needed to go and prove myself, but I really wanted to get advice. And I was like, okay, well, it's the holidays. of course I need to talk to my family and see if they could maybe, because I assume I'm working the airport for the holidays. Yes, you'd be working the airport. Okay. So I just need to see if we can all celebrate these holidays on other days. Can I give you a call back? And really what I wanted to do was find out, like, do I take the loan or not? And he said, he was being a total dick about it. He's like, no, I need to know right now. I'm like, well, then I'm not going to take the loan. Thank you so much. I'll see you next DP, deployment period. And he was like, yeah, you can call me back. Oh, okay. So now I'm like, okay, so he wants me to take the loan, but is that a good thing or is it a bad thing? So I asked Sergeant Podesta, who had 400 years on the job, and he was currently suing the department for some kind of whatever. And I was like, what do I do? And he's like, you need to get out. Like, do not. If you do something great, they're not going to give you a commendation. If you do anything wrong, you're screwed. And you need to tell Randy to get out too. So then I told you to get out. And why didn't you get out?
I think things started going well. Like I got with you knew what year was that you're talking about? 2000
2010, I guess. It was before you went to HED. And I think you and Rigo went to HED Foot Beats or whatever.
Yeah, so I was having fun with Rigo. That started to be fun, and then stuff started messing up with him. One of the things I wanted to add about the traffic stop was the young lady that the guy touched was somebody, I think, someone super important in Orange County. And I have problems with this word, Molly.
Yeah, her like dad was somebody. Yeah, commissioner or something.
Her dad is somebody.
Her dad was
commissioner, something high, super high. And so that all kind of went away. So it was still, because one of the things with LAPD is it's kind of the dogfight thing. Like, we're following you until you go down. We're going to just keep firing at you until, like, once you're on that list, we're done with you.
Mm-hmm.
So it was just, that stuff kept happening. And then I met, I'm going to say her name, Patty Bauman, like one of the best officers I've ever met. We went on loan to Pacific, just like you did. Super fun. She's a lot like you, super hard worker, answers radio calls, maybe a few too many because she's taking other people's. And I was like, hey, we're doing work, but not everybody else's, but
yeah,
super awesome. And fast forward, we answer a radio call to go save this lady's, it was domestic violence. They're like, oh, he's upstairs. We go up there, he's speaking some weird language. I might have told the same story. Forgive me, anybody who's heard this last week or whatever. But anyways, he backs up, he throws a coffee can at me. I had my Aurora out, broke my hand. I'm kind of going fast because I think I told this last week. My hand's broken. It's my primary hand. If anybody knows anything about cops, this is 90% of us. You write with it, you pull out your gun, you handcuff with it.
Mm-hmm.
So anyways, I'm assigned home. I'm on pain pills. I'm like, oh, these are pretty good. I like these things. So they're, come back to work. We'll let you, and it was lies. They were like, we'll let you just kind of chill out at, no, they weren't. I'm taking reports, I'm answering the phone. And there were some a-holes at the front desk. So they're sending the calls that I'm taking right back to me. So now I'm taking a report and my hand is swelling up and it's hurting more. So I just went right back off duty and they're calling me at home. They're like, hey, where are you at? What are you doing? When are you coming back? Why'd you come back and then leave again? So they're thinking I'm sandbagging. I'm a lot of things, but I'm not lazy. Like Molly, since you've known me, I've had like 3 jobs. I was working LEPD and working another job. So lazy's not on the list. Mm-hmm. Anyways,
but they do have a history of that where basically their doctors will say that you're totally fine. When Monica went through her whole knee thing, the department doctor told her to go back. In fact, she could run the Baker to Vegas relay race. And she went back to the doctor. She's like, I'm just not right. It really, really hurts. And the city doctor said, you're fine. So she goes and gets a second opinion on her own dime. And that doctor said, well, you have 2 torn ACLs. Like, you need to be in surgery. It's like the city just wants you to go back to work. They don't give a shit if you've got a broken hand or whatever. Like, see the man, get back in there, see you at roll call. So, okay, so you had the pain pills, and you were also dating at the time.
Yeah, you guys, all you guys knew me, so you guys were like, oh, another girl, another girl, another girl, another girl. And it's not, oh, this guy looks like light-skinned Denzel Washington. It's LA is just full of girls. I had a job. I didn't have Whoopi Goldberg's wig on right now. And all of this was right here. So it wasn't a dating hellscape back then. So I had all the girls. And then I'm doing the pain pills, and there's an ad. It said, I'm not going to get into specifics of that. I fell for the trap that was going on. I show up, I've got my pain pills in my prescription from my friggin' doctor. 2 officers come up. They've got on like the tactical stuff. And like, turn around, put your hands behind your back. And I'm smiling at them. And I'm not smiling because what they wrote in the report. Oh, he smiled like he does this all the time, like he's a drug dealer. I'm smiling because I'm like, oh, I know this guy from like Baker to Vegas. That's the run that us cops race. I'm like, oh, I know this guy. And I wasn't thinking I was doing anything bad. I'm like, oh, I'm trying to meet this girl for a date. And it's just this whole big thing. They're like, you're trying to sell drugs. You're a drug dealer. So they come to my house, they raid it, and all they find is like action figures and toys. And the reason I know is because one of them was broken. And that's how much of a nerd I am. I have maybe 100,000 action figures. And matter of fact, oh God, I hope I don't trigger some people. They're like, who's this weirdo she's talking to? So anyways, they broke a few of them. And I could tell they stopped because I'm like, you could tell how they searched. And I think they figured out, this guy's got his greenies from when he was on probation. He's been on department 10 years, but he doesn't have any scales or anything like that consistent with being a drug dealer. So they backed off. And they wrote a ticket saying, I can't remember what the penal code was, there's further, like we have to investigate further because we don't even know what to charge you with. So I was in jail for like 2.5 days. Sure, LA sheriffs, big shout out to you guys. They were amazing. They were like, take your jacket off. Matter of fact, I went to go sell drugs, quote unquote, with the police shirt on. I had like a windbreaker, and I had a Baker to Vegas shirt on, and I had to take all that off and turn it over because I was going to county. Molly, I've been stupid with you before. Have I ever been dumb enough to show up with like police stuff on to go sell drugs to some chick? So they're like, take your stuff off.
You have a different outfit for that.
Yeah. So they're like, take your stuff off, put it over your handcuffs. It was hell. They were like, we're going to get a special vehicle. We're going to transport. No, they put me on the friggin' Freedom bus. So I'm sitting in the middle of the bus, and they're like, one of the guys, he's like, you snitched. I ain't never snitched. I would never talk to them effing pigs. And I'm like, oh my God. You guys know there's a cop sitting right behind you? So I'm just pooping my pants. And they put me in this giant holding cell in MCT, whatever the hell, the sheriff's, whatever. So one of the sergeant sheriffs, she comes by.
Why were you booked at sheriff's?
I don't know. I really don't know.
Because the crime occurred within the city of Los Angeles, which is why Vice was the one that was at the scene.
No, I think because I was supposed to see the judge, but they didn't even know what to book me with. So it's just
they let you go. Okay, so then, okay.
Yeah. Oh, and then, so here's something funny. I'm going to back up a little bit. I got to reverse a little. So I'm not thinking it's a crime. So I'm telling them, I think I'm going to be late for roll call. And they're like, you're never going to roll call again. They didn't say that, but in retrospect. So they're writing up my like booking stuff, and it's supervisors doing it. And they kind of don't know what they're doing. So I'm writing my own booking stuff. I'm like, no, I'm not sick, ill, or injured. heterosexual, homosexual, bisexual. I'm heterosexual. So I'm helping them write my own booking. And then I'm like, you guys arrested me for narcotics. You know, it's supposed to be a strip search. And I'm sitting there thinking, this is not how I expected my beginning of watch to go. My supervisor looking at me naked. I should be getting paid for this.
Yeah.
So,
Becky Lou wants to know who strip searched you.
Really? She's asking who strip searched me?
Your audio cut. There you go.
So she's a supervisor. So IA sends like, I believe their low officers are sergeant twos and lieutenants. So we're P2s. We're regular cops. P3s are trained officers. P1s are probationers. I'm not explaining this to you, Molly. I'm saying it to the audience. And sergeant twos are IA and lieutenants. So a lieutenant strip searched me. So there you go, Becky, with the strip search. One of my coworkers. Oh, that's a nice. Must be cold in here. Anyway,
she said, so they check your cavities.
Not with their, like they're not putting fingers in there.
But Sorry. They have you completely take your clothes off, bend over, spread your cheeks, come to the front, lift a boob, lift your gut, open your legs. Yeah.
That's what they did to me. I had to lift my boobs and
You didn't have boobs.
Not back then, but fast forward. So I had to lift my meat and potatoes and spread my cheeks. Had to show them everything. And I was like, this is horrible. Yeah. Oh, and it went from worse to worse to worse. So I go to jail. My partner had been loaned to jails. So they clear out everything so I don't get embarrassed. But my partner's coworkers were all of these people. And everybody's like, what? So everyone looked surprised and confused. Like, What are you doing here? So they can't comfort you. So they gave me a Bible and then they gave me another Bible. I'm like, and like a sausage, whatever. And then they were like, do you want to bail out? I was like, how much is it? And he's like, $3,000. I was like, I'm going to stay here.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, I don't know if I'm going to have a job after that, but I know I'm not going to have $3,000.
That was the weekend.
So
I guess it was.
The story's a little, I hope say again?
I guess it was around the holidays because I was driving to Arizona to go see Kate and my parents, my brother. And I get a phone call from Marquise Clark that says, didn't you know Randy Agard? And I'm like, what do you mean, didn't I know? What the fuck? What's going on? I can't get a hold of anyone. I get a hold of Nick Gutierrez, who worked with us at Hollywood. And then I worked undercover with him at West LA. And I was like, what's going on? I was scared to even like Google it. One, I'm driving on the freeway. But two, like there is such a code of silence with LAPD that if I get into your investigation, now I'm being investigated. So even if you would have picked up the phone, we would just be like, hello.
No, you're investigated.
Hello.
Yeah.
Okay. Like there wouldn't be like, you can't even talk about it. So I was actually glad that it didn't pick up. And I don't remember, I think for that weekend it didn't pick up. And then after that, it was like the voicemail subscriber hasn't set up their thing. And I'm like, did he lose his phone? Did he get a new phone? Like, what's going on? And I was just terrified because nobody knew where you were or what fucking happened. And I couldn't find out anything.
So one of the scummy things that LAPD does is what Molly just said. So they're going to investigate her. And what they're going to do is, oh, you got a parking ticket you didn't pay. So now she's in trouble for something completely unrelated to what's going on with me. So in our friendship, she checked on me and we'd be at rehab. I was in rehab. So she would come and see me at rehab. And we would just sit there and kind of stare off. So are they feeding you well here? Because we couldn't talk about anything related to the case.
Shit. I remember sitting in that whole atrium area and I brought you some clothes and a laundry basket and some laundry soap. And I'm like, where the hell is he? And why is he in this place? And why do they not provide him with laundry soap?
So here's what's funny is people were thinking I was dead. My family didn't know where I was. I had a really good friend. He was like, I thought you were dead. I was like, you didn't go check any further? He's like, yeah. I'm like, okay. So there was an officer. This is how cool this officer was. He was like, I'm going to go find him. And the captain said, leave this alone. Don't go. And I'm not going to mention the guy's name. So he goes, leave it alone. Don't go looking for him, whatever. My phone's dead. So this guy drives from Hollywood Station to where I live. I'm not going to say exactly where I live. 57 miles. And my phone's broken, just like you said. So he's just kind of trying to figure out where I might be. I just happened to buy another phone because my partner's best friend lives around here. She picked me up, took me to go get a phone. And he's like, dude, where are you? I'm like, oh, I'm at XYZ address. He gets to there and he's like, I don't care what happened, bro. I just wanted to see your face and make sure you're okay. This is why I'm so big on I don't care about your color. I don't care about your sexuality, because people of every color were horrible during this. People of every color were amazing during this, and gender and whatever. So it's this white guy who was doing all this stuff. So he drove an hour and a half to come see me. Didn't even know I was specifically there. He's like, I'm going to come back in the morning and get you. And this dude lives far. So he goes 2 hours back home, drives 2 hours to come get me, 5 a.m, drives me to church. We're at church. He's like, he's really going through it. His pastor talks to me, takes me out to go eat dinner, drives me all the way back home, and then he drives home. I swear to you, and I know there was another story like this maybe a week ago that I told you, all you guys, because a bunch of officers have done stuff like this, Molly included. So he drove 12 hours in one day, and he had worked his 12-hour shift. So these are the type of officers. And for anyone thinking, oh, it's the blue line and they're just covering for each other, no, when a cop's dirty, no one wants to talk to you anymore. Like, you mess it up for everyone.
Yeah, even if you're suspected, if you're on the hit list, nobody wants to be anywhere near you. It's contagious.
Yeah, no one wants anything to do with you. But all of that big story that I just told goes to what I'm trying to tell you about what Molly said. They don't want anyone to help you that actually cares about you, because Molly's family now. No, we don't want you helping. We want to send one of our specialists. We want the machine to look in on him.
And the machine doesn't give a shit about you. Rose Thistleart says it's intimidating the targeted person's entire circle. They've done it to Trump too. They do it to everyone. I mean, if you see Steve Bannon, Alex Jones, all of them. And I don't think that we knew that it would go so low. Like, we were just stupid police officers. We weren't anyone. And so for you to be so targeted, and the supervisor at Hollywood division, after I signed that I promised not to crash any more cars, stopped me right at that back door by the booking bench and said, this isn't about you. You understand that, right? This isn't about you. Just sign it. And it was like, if I signed it and admitted I crashed a car, they wouldn't go any further with me, that they were targeting you. But at the same time, they weren't targeting the piece of shit that actually did this. Randy was only a witness to misconduct, and all of this stuff, and trying to set him up for a sting and arresting him and going through this charging process was about him witnessing another officer commit misconduct. And how that guy is golden and untouchable is really just a story for the ages, because we have no idea still. And the only reason you were working with him, unfortunately, was because I went to the watch commander and I said, I can't work with this guy anymore. He and I were married up for, I think, 2 months. And every day it was something. I remember we went to a call in the Hollywood Hills. There was a girl there who was paralyzed, foaming at the mouth, and somewhat conscious. We call the ambulance for her. The ambulance has to make sure the police go in first and make sure that it's okay. And so we split up at that time, and it's this like Hollywood Hills Coke party. And this idiot, your partner and mine, goes in the ambulance to get the girl's information and the information like from the paramedics, does she have some kind of medical condition? What's her name? So that we can write our report, and they take off. And I go into the Coke party to find out, like, hey, what's her name and who came with her? And did she eat anything? Does she have any medical issues? And I hear over the radio, code 4, my partner, this idiot, code 4, medical emergency only. And I'm like, oh, maybe she's got some weird foaming at the mouth disease. I don't know. But at any rate, it's, not anything that I need to worry about. So I tell the party, hey, enjoy your Coke party, and I'm out. So I get back in the car with this idiot, and we start to drive away. And, it's the Hollywood Hills. So we're doing the like to try to turn around on this windy road in somebody's driveway with a cliff on the other side. And I'm like, so, like, what happened? What's her deal? Oh, man, they don't know if she's going to make it. Somebody put something in her drink. I'm like, that's a crime. You can't, it's a crime. So then I get on the radio, cancel the code 4. We need 2 additional units in a supervisor door location. I need 1 additional unit to go code 3, which is lights and sirens, to go find the ambulance and what hospital is she going to? I don't know. To find out where this fucking victim is being, and get her dying declaration. What the fuck, dude? That is a crime. If somebody slips something in their drink and she's foaming at the mouth and she's going to die, like, that's not a medical emergency only, you dipshit. And just all the time, I remember coming northbound on La Brea and making an eastbound turn onto Highland, and he's just like fishtailing around the corner. And it's like, bro, what are you doing? This is Hollywood Boulevard. You have all kinds of, tourists that are stepping off the curb to get a picture of the top of the Grauman's Chinese Theater. You got hobos just belching out with shopping carts just in the road. You got all kinds of shit. You cannot drive like that. And he told me women don't drive. And I was like, I don't even care if I drive. Like, driving is the idiot's job. Like, I am the eyes and ears of this institution, being the passenger, because I decide what calls we're taking, what plates we're running. I decide when it's clear enough to go eat. Like, I basically run the car and you drive me around. And so I just have to say, hi, Big Hair Tsunami. He gifted subscriptions to our channels to other people. So that's very exciting. Thank you, Big Hair Tsunami. I made him a moderator. In fact, I don't even know if it does anything, but we don't have anybody in the chat telling us to screw off today, so that's funny. But so he would just every day was something. He's just an absolute idiot. And so I'm like, we can't drive like that. Like, you know what, if a backup comes out and there's a shootout and you need to run over a grandma to get there, fine. But right now we're clear. And so if we were getting any kind of accident, we'd be screwed. And I think that was more like our regular way that we were, like, scared of the system. Don't mess up anything, do your job, and don't fuck around. But this guy was just kind of lawless, and not in a rebellious kind of way, just in the absolute most moronic way. Rose Thistle is getting all excited over the emojis that I've put onto my channel at Life Sleuth Molly, because I put some pretty fun ones over there. And I found a really good one for Kate. I emailed it to her, but she doesn't write me back because I'm not cool enough. So at any rate, I went to and then we got a stolen car. So we had license plate readers, and tick, 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 as you're driving down the street, the license plate readers are automatically reading every license plate. And they keep it in a database, and it helps detectives later on because they see that car has parked in front of that house before and all kinds of stuff. But when the thing clicks and sees a stolen car, it takes over your whole screen, and it's like, stolen car. We call it code 37. And you have to verify the plate, because sometimes it would say 5, but the picture that you could see of the plate was an S. So you do have to make sure before you put it out and the helicopter comes up ahead of you, what you call an airship, and the entire world is like coming to your aid. And you're like, oh yeah, sorry, I got the plate wrong. Everyone go back to Chipotle. Sorry. And so at any rate, I am driving that night. Now our whole watch knows that I'm driving because he has said women don't drive. And I'm like, listen, I don't even want to drive. But I think I just owe it to just drive so that you can see that women drive, because you're an idiot and an asshole, and at least we won't be fishtailing. This is what I'm thinking. At least we'll be driving normally tonight. So we're coming eastbound on Hollywood Boulevard, and a footbeat unit is driving up that center median lane. We got this blue car in front of us. The license plate reader hits. The car directly in front of us is a code 37 or a stolen car. And so this footbeat unit is driving up the other direction, and they stop directly next to the windows of the stolen fucking car. Now, when you're driving for LAPD, I drive, we have contact and cover, like Randy was saying. So if I'm driving, then the passenger is the one that broadcasts everything. The driver just drives. The passenger is the one running plates and looking, and like he went down the alley, and like they have to coordinate with all the other people that are coming and let you know, as the pursuit goes, we're continuing westbound, blah, blah, blah. And so anyway, we're in stopped traffic. It's like club time. And that unit stopped directly next to him. Well, this is the thing, like with Ferguson and stuff. I know that I'm pulling you over for tinted windows, but you think I'm pulling you over for your Texan murder spree. And so that's why traffic stops are so dangerous, because you think I know. And it's that whole consciousness of guilt. I called it black and white fever, I think, the other week. But essentially, people that feel that the police are looking at them can all of a sudden really attack. It's that fight, flight, or freeze, because you think more than I think. Just like I think it was Ferguson, where the guy had robbed a liquor store and he was just caught like jaywalking. The officer's like, hey, get out of the fucking road. And the guy thought, oh shit, he knows that I just robbed a liquor store. And so he comes and he breaks the officer's eye socket and this whole thing. And so then I said to the idiot, let them know. Put it out over the air, broadcast it over the air. Tell them to back up. Unit on Hollywood and Wilcox, back up. You're directly next to a code 37. I'm telling him what to say. And he's like, got the microphone. And he's like, and Mr. like, I'm so badass and I know how to do everything. Is like, he was trying to fuck with the computer and trying to figure out how to, verify the plate. And I'm like, you don't have to verify shit, because you can see the text of what it thinks the plate is. You can see the plate. You don't have to verify it in the system. Just put it out. Tell them to back up. Unit on Hollywood and Wilcox, back up. You're directly next to a code 37. And at this time, I got 5 heads in this stolen car, and they're all looking back. And I see the guy the driver keeps looking in the rearview mirror, looking back at me. And everybody in the back seat is looking, and I'm drumming on the steering wheel and being like, fucking put it out, dude. Like, I'm trying to act like cool, because I don't want them to know that we're onto them. Because I want to like calm down their shit, so that they don't fucking attack anyone and like jump out of the car and start shooting all of us. And so all of a sudden the car just peels off and it goes southbound Schrader, I think. And so now we are fishtailing, and I was lights and sirens fishtailing, driving like Evok taught me. And he has his foot in the door, and he's holding the microphone like in the door, and he's like, go. Like, he's totally lost his shit. And honestly, this is the biggest takeaway from this entire process. That's when I should have just, all right. Well, if you're not going to be here in this fucking car with me, we're not chasing. I need you here. Like, yeah, I know you say that you're Mr. fucking badass, but when the shit hits the fan, like, I'm still. One time I got a guy at gunpoint, and that's why I used to wear a lapel mic, because you could squeeze it with your chin and still like have somebody at gunpoint and still be broadcasting, which I have done. But this guy, his brain was just fucking left back at Hollywood and Wilcox. And so, but I mean, I didn't learn my lesson at that time. So we're going left, right, south, east, southwest, southwest, southwest. We go into this dead end parking lot, which I know because the goth club was there. So I knew that this parking lot was going to end. And so they stop at the dead end. I jump out. I'm the one who broadcasts 6x66, show me code 6 on a code 37 vehicle. I am code 4 here, which means don't come to me. I need additional units. I got 2 male Hispanics running westbound, male Hispanics, shorts. I need an airship, backup, and supervisor. And so the whole world came, and luckily these 2 idiots hid in some kind of like a shed for a church or something, and they were caught. Like, mildly interesting that I have the 3 prostitutes from the back seat at gunpoint. I want the gangsters. I want the guy who's driving the car. I can't book somebody for being in a stolen car unless they're knowingly in a stolen car, which, of course, all these girls are like, I had no idea, and like, you just got to let them go. So anyway, everyone knew that I was the one driving, so I shouldn't have been the one broadcasting. And everyone's like, what happened? Why were you broadcasting? Like, I don't know. I got to talk to my partner. Before I can even answer that. And so if you know me, if I call you dude, I like you. If I call you bro, not so much. So I said to him, bro, like, what happened? He's like, dude, I didn't know you could drive like that. We would have looked like shit if we would have lost him. Like, we would have looked like shit if someone found our dead bodies when they went to go get the paper in the fucking morning, you idiot. Like, but really, as much as I was yelling at him, like, I really was just sort of yelling at myself, because like, that was my bad. You never go faster than your partner. And it's like, I know we all want to chase the rabbit, but if I can get over every fence, well, that's not me. If you can get over every fence and I'm 7 fences back going like, how do I get around this thing? Because I can't climb it. Then stop chasing the fucking rabbit. It's not worth it for you to be alone with them. So
Molly?
Yeah.
Molly, we're having some sound difficulties. Are you hearing it on your end?
We are?
Yeah, you're super low. Is anybody in the chat hearing that?
Let me look in the chat. Oh, there's like cops driving by, lights and sirens right now. I didn't do anything. Fuck off.
Your mic went super, super low.
I did?
I can't hear you. Yeah, I can't hear you.
Audio is perfect. Nope. Big Hair Tsunami says that the audio is perfect, and I hear you just fine.
All right, let's power through it. Sorry about that. Go ahead.
I don't know sign language, but hi. Hi, friend. So anyway, I say all that to say that this guy was an absolute idiot. And I went to the watch commander and like, you're not supposed to complain. I was a brand new officer. See, now, Randy, I like that I'm going to take a screenshot of that because he looks cute. He'll be back momentarily. Did you guys see that Big Hair Tsunami made all kinds of good little GIFs? They're so fun. I loved all of them. Anyway, he'll be back. But so I went to the watch commander. You're not supposed to complain. You're just supposed to row the slave ship and shut the fuck up. And so, but I had to go to the watch commander to complain about the guy and say, oh, he's gone. He'll be back. And so I went to the watch commander, who's like our kind of like overall supervisor. He works in the station. He knows who's going on what calls. He deals with deployment issues and complaints, and he gives all the booking approvals. And he's basically like the boss for the night. And so I went to him and I said, this guy's going to get somebody fired or killed. Like, I don't mean to be salty, which is like arrogant, egotistical, like feel like I'm too cool. But I can't work with him. Like, you're going to have to put a supervisor in the back seat to like watch everything that he does, or like put him on somebody else's car. And so that's when he got assigned to work with Randy. And I'm still kind of haunted by that, because I feel like this whole thing with Randy wouldn't have happened had I just sucked it up and dealt with this fucking idiot. But like, honestly, I don't understand. I mean, we could have a whole conversation about how the hiring process works, but there have been people like this guy that I've sat in the car with that I'm like, dude, I think I'm going to be sick every day that I have to work with you, so that I could just go home and not subject myself to whatever the hell you have in store. Because he just didn't have any common sense. Let me just check the chat while he figures his shit out. Hello, everybody. And yes, Joel, you missed. Kate had a birthday chat, and which was fun. Somebody, let's see. Oh, I gotta go back higher up. Hello. Oh, Rose Thistleheart. Kate, your sister's emojis are kicking your ass. Where are yours? I know. Mine are pretty tasty. I'll unlock all of them next week. I think I did it like half and half or something for like subscribers and whatever, but I'll just unlock all of them because they're too fun. Like, they're all really good. And yes, my Amish street cred, I am good at stupid things like adding these emojis, but Kate knows how to do absolutely everything else. Molly is a hard ass on the law line. I love it. Yeah, I mean, I don't think I knew I was that ballsy. I think truthfully, like, when you become an officer, you don't know like how you're going to be. And I don't know how you test that whole fight, flight, or freeze. Like, that guy that I worked with, he was a freeze. And for all of his like, yeah, I did my probation in Rampart and I'm so badass. Like, when it really came down to it, he buckled and he wasn't able to function. And I don't know how you test for that, and except for put them in a room and do something awful to them and see how they react to it. I feel like they'd probably get sued for that. But he was a freeze. And I know through many instances on LAPD and also just instances living in the barrio that I'm a fight. And I don't know that that's a good thing, but I think in terms of being a cop, it certainly is a good thing. Link to Molly's, go get a subscription. Oh, thanks, Kate. What is email? I hate when cops drive like assholes when they're just cruising around. So I'm going to defend this a little bit, Becky, because there are times when I'm in my car and nothing's going on and I hear an officer a mile away get a sound in their voice that something's going sideways on their traffic stop. And so we'll like hit a corner and just wah, and like try to get there. And then the officer will just be like, oh, code 4, meaning I'm okay. Maybe somebody jumped out of the car at them and they had to fight him and put him in the handcuffs and it's over. And so then you just like stop driving stupid and just return. So for anybody driving next to us, they're like, what the fuck are they doing? But you have to understand there's so many layers going on. It's not just about my call. It's about things that I'm hearing. In fact, since Randy's still getting his shit together, and I sent him an external charger, so it better not be his fucking battery. That's all I know. So I was working Pacific Division. And I don't know why, but I was slated to work inside that night. And basically I'm monitoring all the calls and like who's where and, as a gopher for the watch commander. And it's a real lame job that nobody really wants to do. Everybody wants to be out there like running plates and like finding bad guys. And so the guy that I worked with the night before, I don't think I'm going to say his name. But he was a great guy. He was a brand new officer. And I felt really safe with him, big guy. And we had a fine shift. Everything's good. Next night, he's working with somebody else, who I also won't say their name. That's going to be hard. And I hear them go to a call of a naked guy on a taxi cab. And the cab driver's calling saying, get this fucking guy off my car. He didn't pay me. He's high or drunk. And I just want him off my car so I can go away. And so that kind of call, when I hear that as an officer, we just automatically, if we're clear, we're going to start driving that direction. This doesn't sound good. Let's start getting over there. And I didn't hear anybody go en route. That doesn't mean that they're not. If I am, let's say, on a traffic stop, and all of a sudden I put out shots fired, officer needs help, everybody is going to start flying over, and they better not get on the fucking radio. Show me responding, show me responding, show me responding, show me. Get off the fucking air, because right now you really need those officers to be able to broadcast any information that they need. And so all you're like, I'm going too. Like, we don't need that right now. So it's possible that officers were headed that direction, although I didn't hear any. And then all I hear next is my partner, this big strapping guy who made me feel so safe the night before, say, oh! And that was it. And typically we have open mics all the time. You click your microphone, and for whatever reason, like, because you're leaning and you've got this big fucking belt on and it catches on something and you broadcast to something, and it'll be an obvious like keying of the mic on accident, because you'll just hear hamburgers or whatever, and you're just like, okay, well, they're fine. But when I heard him, I'm like, what the fuck is going on? So now people are driving there. And then my classmate got into a really bad accident. There was a place in Pacific Division that had this big hump in the road. And if you were taking it at the right, you'd land backwards. It was really fucked up street. Your tax dollars at work. So anyway, it sent him flying with his partner, and he was badly injured. So now you have officers going to his aid, as well as my partner the night before. And essentially what had happened was this guy was on something, and he was not complying. He wasn't going with the program. And he got in a fight with these two big officers. And he was, those stupid like clown things where you punch it and it goes back and then it comes back up. That's how he's treating these two officers. This guy that died, this suspect, was a football guy. And he had like streamed earlier in the day that he was going to get drunk and have a great time. And so that was all part of the like, oh my God, why would you kill a guy just for having fun? Like, anyway, so he has one officer unconscious, and then he goes and gets on the other side and starts punching the other officer who's unconscious. And he is picking one of these guys up by the gun holster, just trying to figure out the retention on this holster, trying to figure out, how do I get this fucking gun out of this unconscious officer? And so my partner, the other officer, he wakes up and he's like, sees that this big dude is getting picked up by his gun holster. And like, it's only a matter of seconds before that holster could potentially break, or maybe he could figure out the retention on this holster. And he's like, as soon as this guy's armed, we're both dead. Like, he had both officers unconscious. He could have just run. If all he wanted to do was get away, the guy could have got away. We were unconscious. And so my brand new officer partner from the night before goes up to this guy and shoots him to neutralize the threat. And it was all over the fucking news because the guy was black. And that's just the key word that the news just salivates over. Oh yeah, he was black. Oh great, this is going to be front page news. Everything, yeah, everywhere. This, you could see this guy's name all over the place. And then it came out that my partner officer, also black. So then all of a sudden the news story just doesn't matter anymore. Whatever. It's black on black crime. Who cares? But I think it freaked my partner officer out enough that he ended up going to another agency after that. And last I talked to him, he really loved the new agency. I don't know that, LAPD scared him off. Certainly he would have been backed. He had every justifiable reason to use deadly force on that guy. But so at any rate, there are times in which we will hear something over the radio that is not right. And so that whole long story, Becky Lou, is just to say that sometimes we're driving like assholes because there's other things going on. And then maybe they get called off when we blow through the light. And then we're like, and I've felt that myself, like, let's just take a right here. Sorry, everyone. Thank you. Carry on. And you're like, okay, well, the backup was canceled. And like now everybody in the intersection thinks that we're jerks. And so you'll like slink off and just be like, sorry, I swear it was something good. But yeah, for LAPD, we would get like so much in trouble if we were to drive like assholes like that. So it's just not worth it at all. Are there people that probably do it? Yeah, I definitely sat in the car with one of them, and that's the story that we're telling you tonight. The one that got Randy fired and temporarily a convicted felon. And I really want him to come back so he can tell the rest of this. I don't want to like kill his thunder. So let me go through the chat a little bit. Oh, I missed a lot. And hello. Your husband's out coyote hunting? Holy hell. I got chased by a coyote once, and I had to jump on top of a car. I was so scared. I didn't know what was going to happen. I was just screaming. It wasn't even my car I was standing on. It was up above the Hollywood Bowl. Terrible. And that same house that I lived at, they were having a pool party once, and somebody was like feeding this dog, and they were like, oh yeah, your dog, like that's a fucking coyote at the party, like at this pool party. Like, stop feeding the fucking coyote. Okay, let's see. Tactical genius. I don't know what I was saying, Becky Lou, but there it is. Oh wow, I'm really far behind. Okay, let me catch up. Yes. Hi, Justice 7777777777. Yes, I was a police officer for the Los Angeles Police Department for over 10 years. And I guess we could talk a little bit about the fires while I'm waiting for Randy to come back, and hopefully he does come back. As I'm reading the chat, Randy is frozen. Thanks, Chickaboom. He froze. Already took one. Kate already took a picture of Randy. That's going to be a cute picture. Listen, we're both like basically Amish. This is why I'm at work right now, because I don't have home internet. And I haven't for like 100 years. I don't own a television. I don't have a subscription to Netflix. Like, I don't do any of that stuff. Maybe Randy needs to turn up his volume. Okay, well, that's a moot point. Does Molly have her own Foxhole channel? I do have Molly Sleuth at Rumble, and I'm also on YouTube, but we don't need to talk about them. Because, I am streaming on YouTube right now. YouTube, I love your censorship. Bring on more. And today on Instagram, I got zapped. 2 of my posts got marked for being false. Like, what happened to the promise, bro? I thought you weren't gonna like be like screwing with us anymore. And the stupid thing of it is like now when it tells you that you're spreading false information and you click on it and it says like there's no information here, like, so you're not even telling me which post it was, and now you're not even telling me like what I said was wrong. Like, maybe I want to drink the Kool-Aid and you're just not telling me what flavor it is. Like, tell me what I did wrong. Otherwise, like, how am I supposed to correct my bad behavior? Like, listen, this is just, it's gotten out of hand. And I know he went on Joe Rogan today, and I know that, he has all these promises that he's going to play nice now. It's all just to keep him from getting in trouble. It's all about him. He's still a reptilian piece of shit. You can quote me on that. All right, let's go back into this chat. Oh my gosh. I don't see it live there. Yeah, the weird thing about YouTube is that even when I'm live, it's not on the front page anymore. So like my YouTube are all old. Then you have to go to like the live tab. It's really dumb. And I think that Powered by Spirit is gone. I saw him say that he had someplace to go. But we did a little thing on Wednesdays, and Wednesdays we're going to do a little like informal stupidity on my channel, just talking about like news stories. And so I met Powered by Spirit through Kate's channel, and I was like, I don't even know. He could be 90, he could be 20. Let's fucking do this. Who cares? I could talk to anyone. And I think it was really great because he isn't inherently very law enforcement friendly. I don't want to say it like in that terms, but we had a very good conversation before we filmed a chat. And then all of a sudden he cared about the police. But anyway, maybe that was me. Maybe I made him so happy. What irritates me most is when a cop uses his lights and sirens to just get through a red light. Like I'm like, I want one of them. Okay, so Justice, if I could have any piece of equipment from being a cop to my personal car, it would be the PA. There's just something so godlike about getting on that PA and telling people to fuck themselves. It really is fantastic. But sometimes, so at least for LAPD standards, there are 3 kinds of calls. There's a non-coded, which is like a lady was at the park today and she lost her cell phone and she's looked for it, but she can't find it. And she's going to meet you at her house to make a report. Totally non-coded. Get there when you can get there. Then there is a code 2 call, which is you should get there as soon as practicable. Don't take any of these other little bullshit calls. Do this call first. But it's not a lights and sirens call. And then there's a code 3 call, which is lights and sirens, get there now. Obviously, don't answer any other calls. And sometimes you'll get a code 3 call while you're at a call. You're taking some report and you get toned and you have to be like, gotta go. So when they're doing a siren to go through a red light, it could be, and I don't want to make excuses because and maybe I'll get into it since Randy doesn't seem to be coming back. I'm all alone. Help me. But I did work for another agency after I left LAPD, and they were fucked up. So I'm not even going to speak for them because everything they did was absolutely trash. But in terms of LAPD, there are times in which you would just do a little boop just to get through the light. Not all the lights would have the we call it here in Michigan because the fire truck has it, but it's not going all the time. I can't think of the name for it. But anyway, that it will turn the light for you. So for LAPD, if I go through that light and it's got a red light camera on it, and I am not going to a code 3 call, but I went through the intersection with my lights on, fired. Like, you're fucked. So you're just not going to do it. But there are cases in which, let's say there's a bank robbery and there's already a unit handling it, but you want to back them as a unit. And you're like, I need to get there and I'm not waiting 2.5 minutes for this fucking light. So I'm just going to go through the intersection and then drive. I'm not authorized for code 3 because it's not my call, and the suspect has already left. So it's not that real code 3 emergency. The whole city is driving their lights and sirens, but maybe it's just enough to go, I got to get through this intersection. I got to go. But if you're ever, worried about it, you can always call that station and say, I just kind of wanted to know, he just went around all traffic and went through this red light. Did they have a call? And hopefully they would be transparent with you and tell you, yeah, what time was it at? Oh, 1:13. Yeah, that's when we had this call of a DUI driver, OWI, whatever your state calls it, that went into a tree and with 3 passengers ejected, and he was just trying to get there. Hopefully they would be transparent. I get that, but I live in a small town. There's one specific officer who should not be an officer. He's a total prick and drives like an ass and acts like one too. He makes me so mad. Well, Becky Lou, I'm all about weeding out the bad apples. So I would suggest that you call anytime that you see him breaking the law. As law enforcement, we're held to a higher standard. And so I he shouldn't be doing any of that stuff. So if he thinks that he's too cool for school, maybe he needs to get knocked down a couple of pegs at work. So there are ways that you can call. There are ways that you can be anonymous. I would definitely tell him that you want to be anonymous, especially if he's an officer that you make contact with from time to time, but understand it might not be entirely anonymous. And so what's going on with this buttocks? I can totally picture Molly as an Old West sheriff. I am missing all kinds of stuff. Okay, give me a second. Go play with some of my emojis. Did you guys see the emojis on my page? There's like a bunny like shooting. It's really good. I'll have to bring my bunnies. I can't bring my bunnies to work, but I do have 2 very cute bunnies. Super small town. Well, we won't dime out where you live. But I would definitely suggest you calling on him. And clown punching bag. Oh my God, is that how far behind I am? And I don't want to like read while you're like, okay, cool. Hold on, Grandma needs her glasses. I just want to read faster. That's what I want to do. So I guess I don't know if Randy's coming back. He didn't even text me, so it's possible that it's just his phone took a massive shit. But I have to be out of here in 15 minutes anyway, or the police are coming for me. And so, okay, so I guess I will tell you a little bit about the division or where I worked after I left LAPD. And maybe we'll get back to Randy's story. When we come back, we do have some good shows in the works. Next Friday is the stupefaction of society. Like, why is everybody so dumb? Is it these like cell phones that we have in our hands? Is it the toxins? Is it the fluoride in the water? That could be part of it. So we're going to be talking about why humanity is so stupid. And we got a few people. We got a new friend of mine, Kim, that I met here in the Lansing area, who's just the ballsiest. I love her. She's so talk about Old West Sheriff. She needs to be an Old West Sheriff. And so we're going to do that one. And then I had messaged Kate. I guess I won't dime her out because she didn't reply back to me. But there was a show we were thinking about for the end of the month that hopefully we're going to do. And we just have a bunch of things. And my military friend is going to come on, hopefully, and talk about potential countrywide invasion. Okay, so as I'm going through this, Hiking Cat Lady is also Amish. Hooray! With no internet, that's good. So I'm almost at the bottom of the chat. Wait, so Molly can't see her own awesome stickers in the foxhole. She doesn't know what it is. I think so. Oh, I don't know. What do you mean by a foxhole? Do you mean my channel? I'm Amish. Yeah, wish Randy the best too. I did see that big hair tsunami. So that I worked that area. And the problem with it is like there are canyons like Mandeville Canyon that don't meet Mulholland Highway, which is the big spine on the top of that mountain. And so when they say that West LA is on fire, it's basically Sunset Boulevard to Mulholland or all these windy streets, and everybody is just packed in like sardines, but they're like multi-million-dollar houses. Pacific Palisades is a little bit more on a grid because it is right at the coast. So you're talking everything north of Sunset and east of Pacific Coast Highway. It's just south of Malibu. Still very high-end houses. I won't be living there anytime soon. I guess nobody will be living there anytime soon. But we, LAPD right now is on a tactical alert, which means if you're at work, you're staying at work. We've had fires in the past. I don't know. My classmate messaged me today, and I don't know if it was 2017 or 2018, but there were fires in another area, and I was already working as a detective. And so we got sent as just extra bodies to go knock door to door to tell people to leave. People don't leave. And I get that. And I was talking to my mom today and sending her some videos and stuff. And it's like, one, you don't want your house looted. And 2, you don't want your house burning. And if if everything's on fire, then you don't trust the firefighters, even on a good day, to be able to put out your shit. So people want to stay. This is the hill I'm going to die on. And I had a guy, he had 2 kids, and you could see the fire from his front yard. And he told me he would leave when his toenails got warm. And I was like, all right, well, I'm considering you as a loss, and I'm just going to go warn people that have their head not up their asses. But people don't want to leave. And I think part of that is that low trust society that, but then look what's happening in LA. They've already arrested 20 looters the last I checked. They had other people starting fires. I don't know if you guys saw that they arrested that one guy with the torch. It's like a yellow fire extinguisher looking thing, but instead of extinguishing fires, it causes fires. And so he was caught by some neighbors trying to start a fire, although I don't see that on the video. But whether he was holding it with a flame out, I don't know. But it was enough for the neighbors to just converge on this guy and throw him to the ground and hold him for police to take him. So the police take him, and this is so frustrating as a cop, as a detective, just as a person in the society, that there are things that rise to the level where I can detain you but not arrest you. And I don't know what the hell happened. But all I know is that if this guy has a torch and you have the entire city on fire and he was arrested for something, or he was potentially a suspect in another arson not far away, they could have done something that they call a PC booking. In other words, I stop you in your car for tinted windows and I see in the back seat you've got a ski mask, a replica handgun, and a bag that has a $sign on it for stealing money from the bank. And I'm like, bro, I don't know if you were about to go to a bank robbery or you were just coming back from a bank robbery, but it's enough, at least for the state of California, to PC book him. But they didn't. They said there wasn't enough to arrest him for arson charges, being in possession of this thing and riding in a neighborhood that he had no fucking reason to be in. So this was in Woodland Hills, and I don't know. They said that they arrested him on felony probation violation or something. Okay, so that means that he's already been a piece of shit because he's on felony probation, which is basically impossible in the state of California to be on any kind of supervised release. And I want to catch up here, but I'm never going to. And so for them to not arrest him, it's crazy because the guy's just released, and who knows where he got the torch. I think I saw my Kate post on her Twitter, like, how does a homeless guy get a torch anyway? I don't know. They do. But he's out and doing stupid things. I did see, and I don't know if it was on Pilled. You guys are on so many apps. Can I just say, I don't know how you keep up with all of it. It's very overwhelming as somebody who is trying to emerge from my beautiful Amish egg into this world of fucking bunnies shooting and things going on. But I saw on there that the guy potentially had 5 cell phones on him. That seems reasonable. And what else? And a welfare card. And I don't know if it was so the California Golden State Advantage card was the welfare card back when I was a cop. And it was just because, like, we don't want to have food stamps. I don't want my money to look any different than anyone else's. Well, then fucking work for your money. What can I tell you there? Well, Randy didn't even, like, get back to me at all. So I hope he didn't fall into a hole. But I do know that he lives quite far from the fires. So, Justice, I really like your show. I should get your notifications because I follow Kate. It sounds like we need more people in law enforcement agencies like you. Well, let me tell you, I'm just a civilian loser in the Midwest now because I done quit. I guess we should get into that, but I have 8 minutes until the police are coming to escort me out of here. So let me try to catch up with this. And then Wednesday, we might talk more about the fires, but that's just going to be like whoever wants to jump on with me. talk about news bullshit, and it'll only be on Rumble. We ain't doing that shit on YouTube because YouTube clutches their pearls in horror over like keywords that are stupid. And things like, I can't even say it because it's fucking YouTube, but Susie side, emergency exit from life. Like I did a whole video on trying to help people through some of their darkest times. I've had people take that emergency exit and I try to help people with that. And I can't even use the fucking word. Like, how does that gonna help anybody? Like, we can't talk about that. It's like that Twilight Zone episode. It's a real nice day, Billy. Real nice. Not too hot. Nope, not too hot. Don't talk about that. So let's see. Dateline did a special about the fire gel. Yeah, there was so much good stuff coming out about these fires. And actually, I don't have time, but there's a firefighter that they're showing as being one of these ladies of like the LAFD. And if that's the right lady, then she is fucked up. I've gotten some commendations for unfucking her for a smoke detector that was going off, called her because there was a gas leak, by the way, gas leak. And so she came in and knocked the smoke detector off of the ceiling and said, fix that, and left. So we had to wait for the gas company to come and got a commendation. He said that had we left, that apartment would have filled with gas and it would have blown the entire block up because it was just creating a bomb the size of an apartment. But good thing the smoke detector was off. And then I think during the death show, I talked to you a little bit about a little old man that died that I was able to help and how I got called in on a fire department investigation. And that was her call. So remember her being there. I tried Pilled. Blast there with the stickers, though. It's hilarious. Same here. I'm going to go over there with the profile, create watch, stubborn. Okay. Yeah. California, man. I'm real glad that I'm out. I mean, as much as I miss that job every single day, I miss that job. I'm just glad that I'm out, and I'm so scared for all my friends, and I wish that they would just come out. Randy's come and visited me. A couple other cops have come and visit me. My classmate Jeanette's come. My friend Ted has come. And they see the Midwest and they're like, oh, it's so beautiful here. Like, bro, with the amount of money you make, you could buy like a whole block here and just become like a landlord and like live the dream and not have to work anymore. But they stay. It's like slowly cooked frogs. It's just a little hotter every day. All right. Well, I'm going to get out of here because I guess somebody needs to go put out a backup for Randy. So I will bring him back, but not next week because we're doing the stupefaction of society, although Randy will be on that one. We'll get back to this cop thing again because I feel like it's something that demystifies a little bit about what happens when you're in a marked black and white police vehicle, and it's kind of fun. So how do I get out of this part? I'm going to move that. My sister taught me all kinds of fun things. All right, guys. Well, Wednesdays is earlier, so that is 6 p.m. on Eastern Standard Time, which is like 3 p.m. Pacific Time. So if you don't catch it, you don't catch it. But you can watch it later. It'll be a shorter show, and it'll just be talking about news and whoever wants to jump on. My friends are just signing up for dates. And then Fridays are a little bit more formal, and they're here on the Kate Awakening. They're also on Molly Sleuth, but like the chat is kind of going on in my sister's. And if I can get my sister to download these emojis, it's going to be a pretty good time over there. So I love you guys, and stay safe. Don't take any shit, and I will see you soon.